Hi there everybody, and welcome to another video. On today's video I have this Ford Mondeo Mark III 2003. This is a 2-liter tdci, the DuraTorq. I'm going to attempt to change the belt here for the alternator, and this belt is for the power steering. This one is actually at the back of the engine, and this one it's in the front. They're both really worn out, but I never done these belts on this model car, so bear with me as we go along. I'm hoping that these are the correct parts anyway, and if they are, here they are, but make sure you get the correct one for your vehicle. Like I said, this is the 2-liter version. This one here, the 96 kilowatt. So I'm gonna put this to one side, and I'm gonna start by removing the dipstick here, because if you take the dipstick out, you can then take this cover out, which I already loosened. It's just plugged in there on these mounts. That one is missing, but there's another 2 at the back, so it's 4, all of them. Take that out. We'll have a little bit more room that way. Then we'll put this back in there, and one of the belts is here. That's for the power steering, and the other belt, it's here. Now it's a little bit difficult to see, but it's definitely in there. Let's get some light in there. So that's the belt there. Now the only thing is that to access it, I think, like I said, I never done one of these before, so I think I'm going to remove the mount here. I'm going to remove the engine mount, lower the engine, and hopefully that way I can access the tensioner, because I can see the tensioner is on this side, but there's no way of fitting anything in there to release the tension. And I think we need to use like a drive, or basically one of these drives, in order to release the tension. So to get this mount off, I got a jack in place. I got my jack already in there. I just got it with a block of wood on the sump, holding the sump, and I've also taken this little bit out here. That's just held in by a 10mm bolt in there, really, and that is just up there like so. So if you go ahead and release that as well, then you will have this little flap off. Maybe we can take it completely out. It's just another 10mm in there, and maybe that whole thing will come out, but I'm just concentrating in up here at the minute. So what I need to do, so I got the engine on the jack, and I can release this mount, but also in order to access these nuts here, 18mm nuts, we need to move this a little bit. So there's a 10mm nut here. If you take that out, you might be able to just move this a little bit. You don't necessarily need to take it out completely, because I didn't, but I loosened it. So I'm just gonna put this nut back in there so it doesn't go missing, and I know where it belongs. So that will give you a little bit of leeway. Move these pipes, and then you can get your 18mm socket in there. Also, I'm gonna take this out 10mm, because to get the mount out, we need to remove those bolts, the ones on the sides, one there and one in here, but that one there is sitting below this thing, which I'm not sure what that is, but that's what we want to do. So let's get this. Let's get this going. So I've already loosened these 10 mils as well. Like I said, there's an 18 mil. I'm just using an air gun, but you can just use your power barrel ratchet to take those out. Two 18 mils out, and then I have a 15 mil for the ones on the side. So one there and one here. Now I may just mark the position of this mount, because sometimes it does matter when you actually take them out. So I'm just gonna mark where it is, more or less. Avoid any issues afterwards. So that's where my bolt is going round. So just marking it a little bit against the body here. May try to do a little bit on this side as well. Nothing out of the ordinary here, just some simple marks. That may save us some time. So now I'm gonna lose those. That is 2 bolts out. Okay, so it's just seems to be a little bit under pressure, so I'm gonna lower the engine and maybe that's going to help. Okay, so instead of lowering the engine, I jacked it up, and that kind of released the pressure on this mount, so it came out fairly easy. It seems like when I lowered it, it was actually under a lot of tension. Okay, I can't maneuver it out. Either I have to remove these or just loosen these pipes properly so I can take it out. But we don't really need to do that. Now it's loose and it's not under any tension here. I think I could lower the engine for having access to the tensioner. Okay, I think I lowered it as much as I can. So let's have a look under here. See what is going on. Doesn't seem like we have much access there, but the wheel that we want is just here. It's just now it's a bit more accessible because now there's a bit more room here. So we're gonna have a look at that in a minute. Okay, so looking at the car from down here, I removed the plastic cover that was hanging there, just a 10 mil there and the 10 mil on the other side, as I said. But then we need to try and get our ratchet. So this is the kind of ratchet, the kind of drive that I'm gonna get up there. And it's a bit of a fiddle to do that, but because there's still not exactly a lot of room. That is just about fitting. Okay. That is just about gone in there. I wonder if there must be a special tool for this. Alright, so I'm just pushing the drive in there properly. Special tool which is flat and just a drive at the end. Now with this small ratchet, it's gonna be pretty hard to release that tension, so I'm gonna use this bar here to help me. So let's get this somewhere where you can see what I'm doing. And then, well, while I release the tension, I'm gonna lose the belt, probably from up here or somewhere, or down here. But never put your finger, if the belt is here, don't put your finger in between the belt and the wheel, in case this goes. If you lose the grip on this, it will obviously tighten the belt again, and then your finger can get caught and then that'll be difficult to deal with. So bit by bit, I'm just gonna help myself with this bar, and while holding the that is already sort of releasing some tension, but not enough. Well, it's definitely a hard one. Especially if you're on the floor. Right, let's try that again. Great. If anybody knows the easier way of doing this, please let me know, because I never done one of these before, so like I said before, and as a result I could be doing it the wrong way. Okay, I released some of the tension there, so I'm just gonna pull the belt out. Alright, belt is out. Now I'm going to release the tension. So I got the belt out up there from this idler wheel. That means I can now get it out. Might need to get this out as well. Refit it later. Okay, just remember how it goes. I got a wheel on that side, got the crankshaft here, obviously the tensioner, and then it goes okay. So this seems a little bit more complicated than I thought. It looks like we have to remove or release the tensioner itself a little bit in order to get the belt out. So I'm gonna jack up the engine again so we can have a look at that. Okay, I got it out of all the wheels. I jacked up the car. The engine. You may notice that I removed the mount from here. I had to undo the tank, but the tank is only two 10mm nuts holding it. One is right in between these two, and then this comes loose, and then you can get that out. But like I said before, this belt, you can't actually take it out unless you remove this tensioner. So at the moment, the only options I'm seeing is I have to cut it out and then sort of push the other belt through this little gap here. So it's difficult to see, but through that gap, basically. That's where it has to go in and out, through that little gap. So I was trying to take the belt out through there in order to see how I'm gonna put the new one in, but this moment in time looks like I'm gonna cut this one out and try to fit the other one in that way. I don't know if that's going to work. Well, we'll see. Let's cut this one out, literally cut it out with a knife, and then fiddle with the other one. Just remember how this fits, though, how it's fitted in there, so you know what you're doing. Okay, so I haven't cut that belt yet, but I've decided to release the tensioner a little bit. I've got this tiny head, sort of Allen key. This is a size 8mm, and it just about fits the whole of the. So let's try to put some lights down here, which I'm just doing. I guess if I can undo that a little bit, it will allow me to get that belt out. But the other thing is, we also need to release the belt from, we need to release the tensioner from its nut underneath, because that belt is also in there. So at the moment I'm just undoing that center nut there, so that may take me a while. So like I said, at the moment I have the engine up, and once I release that, then I'm gonna lower it, and then we can release the other one, and hopefully we're getting somewhere. So I'm just going to undo that for now. Okay, just having undone it a little bit is gonna let me push the belt down. Don't really have to remove the whole, as you can see, it's going down through that wheel. Okay, that is out, but it's not fully out because underneath there is like a damper attached to this tensioner, which is also blocking the belt. I have no idea why they've done it this way. Really complicated and laborious. Right, so let's undo the bottom. So looking at the car from down here, this is what we're undoing. 13mm nut there. So we can take this out. Right. So that it's kind of, the belt is sort of in there as well. So somehow we want to fiddle that out of there. There. Okay. It's sort of coming out. Okay. Now I have to refit that bit back in there on the new belt and through the wheel, so we can get this back in. But hopefully now we can just get this whole thing out. Still getting stuck everywhere possible. Right, okay, finally. Now you may notice why I want to change it. It's really cracked and it's bound to break at any time, which could then be a problem. Right, let's get the new one. Okay, new one's here, looking nice and new, which just means we have to start fiddling this back in there. So I just push the belt back up here behind this thing, and now we need to start doing all the fiddling around and get it through the wheel up there and so on. So it's gonna be a bit of a pain, but what can we do? Has to be done somehow. Now that the other one is out. Okay, so just gonna be messing around with it up here, trying to get it back up this place this way through the wheel. We removed it. Okay, right, it's up that wheel now. Okay guys, I spent quite a long time getting this belt around all of these places, but it's finally in place and ready for me to get some tension in it again. But obviously I have to do the same procedure. First I need to secure this again, which we removed in order to get the belt in and out. So I need to secure that as well again, and then I have to do the same thing, lower the engine, give it some tension, put the belt back in. But yes, I have been fiddling with it for a long time. So refitting this now is just reversal of removal. Gonna take a little while. Have to tighten the nut for the tensioner as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do those things, which there's not much point filming that anymore. I think you get an idea of how to remove it, which is more or less the same to refit it. And then after that we're going to tackle the belt at the back of the engine, which I hope is not a nightmare as well. So new belt is in there. Congratulations if you managed to get it in there. Well done. It took me quite a while to get that in, but it's in, so we can move on to the back belt here. So the back belt, it's just under this cover and runs down this tensioner here and runs the power steering, which is just down there, and we can't really see. Hang on, there. So that's the bit of the belt. Okay, so I've been looking at this a little bit, and it looks like we might be able to use the smallest ratchet drive that goes onto the tensioner at the top there, and we might be able to release the tension that way. I'm just using the ratchet down there, and I connected this to help me pull it a little bit. But we're gonna take this cover out, so held in by a 10mm nut there. So if we just take that 10mm out, try not to lose that. I also just removed the cover of the battery there, so it gives me a little bit more room for view, and then we can remove that. This is just plugged in at the back onto that sort of stud there. It was kind of broken, so it came out anyway. Okay, let's give this a go then. Let me put this somewhere else. Okay, so I'm going to release the tension and hopefully try to remove that belt. Okay, so I just noticed that, just realized again, like the belt over there on the other side, there is a bracket that's fitted sort of in between, so you can't take it out unless you remove the bracket. That bracket I'm talking about is this one here, which is a number of nuts and bolts. They're attached to this pipe here. That pipe runs along to there. So I mean, I don't know, I'm not sure we have to remove the entire pipe. I don't know, at this point it looks like we have to remove the entire engine just to change a tiny little belt. I really wonder what on earth were the people who designed this thinking. But I don't want to diss this car yet. It has a strong engine, so let's keep the cool and the patience. All the swearing can be invisible. Right, so I don't know if I show the belt I'm using. This is the belt Tyco for PK736. That's the one there. So let's start dismantling the engine and trying to get that belt out. So let's start with those brackets there. Hopefully it's just going to be a few nuts and bolts, I don't know, 13 mil, 10 mil. Looks like there's an 8 mil there as well. Okay, we have success, but that's the reason I want to change this belt. It's absolutely worn out, every inch, every centimeter of it. Now we can get a nice new one in there. some of it is gonna go through here. But the other bit has to go behind. That wheel there in between. Just gotta go in between this bracket here. Because that will make it go under the tensioner wheel. And once it's under the tensioner wheel, it has to come around. The back of this, the wheel that drives it, basically. Let's see what's going on here. So basically, I have to get the belt around this wheel. One's gotta go down in between that little gap there. That's where this tensioner is. So I have to, I'm gonna release some of the tension so I can get the belt in there, because it's quite a skinny, very small space there. And then obviously it has to go around the wheel down there, the one that drives the power steering pump. So I'm gonna be fiddling with that till I get it on, and I may have to just fast forward as once I finish, because obviously you know how to remove it now. Remove the bracket and release the tension and get the belt out. So refitting is just a reversal of removal, but a pain in the ass. Okay, job done. If you managed to get that one done as well, well done to you as well. And like I said, any suggestions on how to do this on a simpler way are always welcome. Well, I don't really know. I never changed this belt on one of these cars, which is why I'm not entirely sure of the exact procedure. But nevertheless, I've also noticed that this little cover here, the clamp, is loose. Now these clamps, getting these clamps together are a pain in the neck, so I'm just gonna fit a Jubilee clip, one of the other clips, the ones that you can put with a screwdriver. You can tighten with a screwdriver. So I'm gonna fit one of those, and then we're gonna start the engine, make sure both belts are running okay. Okay, so I finished. I've got a new clamp in there, just holding, where is it, just there. I'll have to change the battery as well. This battery doesn't belong to this car, and it's a little bit too tall, which is why I can't fit the clamps properly here. This battery is just held in by a clamp here that screws on the two bits come up from the side, and then you have the clamp up here, but it's a little bit flatter and a little bit longer, the original. Anyway, let's get this car started, and hopefully it's all gonna be running okay. All right, let's have a look here. Okay, so I've got no lights, as in no warning lights, which is a good thing. And everything seems to be running accordingly, so that's the belts there. So that's pretty much it. So, like I said, well done if you managed to get this job done. It is a bit of a hassle for sure. The last but not least, will be this cover, and that's it. So on that note, I hope this video helps. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video if you found it helpful, and we'll see you on the next video.